Running a short-term rental has been a learning curve. Over the past few years, there are things that I realize are not worth my time anymore. So today, I'm sharing the things I no longer do in my Airbnb business and the things I'll always do no matter what. Hopefully, this saves you a little bit of trial and error. Thing number one is checking my analytics every day. When I first started hosting the tiny house, it was only a few days before I got my first booking, but those first few days felt like an eternity. I was so worried, what if no one would book it? Even as we progressed on our journey and we started the beach house, I would still get nervous about lulls, about slow periods when we weren't getting as many bookings. Like, oh no, this is it, something has gone completely wrong, I must do something right now. I remember every day I would go and look at the Airbnb analytics to see how many views, what's the conversion rate, and how many first page impressions I got. By the way, if any of these words are new to you, I do have a video explaining the Airbnb algorithm, so go check that out for a quick refresher. Anyway, as time went on, this behavior became really taxing. And I realized me obsessively looking over these numbers every single day didn't really change outcomes. It was almost just self-soothing to feel productive. Seasonality is real, some months are just slower, and also, as much as you optimize your pictures and your descriptions and try to understand the algorithm and optimize your listing, these algorithms can change and things aren't always in your control, obviously. So now I still look at pricing data and analytics, but more like once a month, once every other month. And I do this systematically, comparing my pricing with others and my occupancy with others and how it matches up with the previous year's trends. My beach house now takes up considerably less mental space, and reassuringly, it's still going fine. Thing number two is relying only on Airbnb bookings. We just talked about the algorithm, and when you only list your property on Airbnb, you are 100% dependent on their algorithm, their rules, and their changes. Same thing for VRBO, where they have their own algorithm and fee structure to worry about. And that is why once I got the hang of these two main platforms, I started looking into direct bookings. I looked around for different options and ultimately landed on Lodgify, who is very kindly sponsoring today's video. I've been using them for a while now, and what stood out to me about Lodgify is that their direct booking website is just so easy to set up. You can get this very professional looking direct booking website literally within minutes. It pulls all of your photos and descriptions and even the photo captions and all the booking settings directly from Airbnb so that you don't have to be copying and pasting anything. And it just compiles it into this awesome website that is ready to go, it's mobile friendly, and super easy to use for potential guests. The calendar shown here is automatically synced with your Airbnb calendar and VRBO, Booking.com, Google Vacation Rentals, all the places, which helps make sure you're not getting double booked accidentally when you're listed across so many different platforms. With direct bookings, you have fewer fees eating into your profits, and you have a little bit more control if you want to explore marketing the listing or keeping an email list of previous guests. I'll drop my link below if you want to try it out, and I also have a special discount code just for this community. You can use Lydia15 to get 15% off an annual or bi-yearly plan. Thing number three is quality control by hand instead of by system. At first, when we were just hosting the tiny house, I would go over there every single flip, lint roller in hand, to make sure I pick up every single hair, every surface was spotless and perfect. And while it did give me a bunch of 5-star reviews and people raving about the cleanliness, it wasn't sustainable. I realized what I should have spent time on was set really clear expectations with my cleaners up front and not be afraid to give feedback, or honestly, when those expectations are continuously not met, I should have tried to find someone else who could meet my standards. Instead, really what I was doing was accepting subpar work and fixing it myself. It's almost like I wanted quality control to be part of the process, but I didn't build it into the system, and so now I am the quality control. Now with the beach house, what it has really forced me to learn, because I can't fly over to Florida every single flip, is that I rely on a trusted local team. My role is oversight. It's not going over there to fluff pillows or check under the bed. When we visit, which I think we would have just done one when this video goes live, or if we hear any feedback from the guests about the cleanliness or anything that they didn't like, we pass that feedback on. We make sure we correct course, and this could be just direct feedback and making sure the cleaners now understand our expectations, or if it comes to it, going with someone else. It doesn't feel good, and I still remember that one guest message where things were unfortunately missed, and it is really hard to accept that things are not going to be perfect every single time. At some point, no matter how good your cleaner is, there's going to be a mistake. But over the long run, if short-term rental is a thing that you intend to continue doing, it's much better to come up with a system that has these built-in checks. For example, using a checklist for your cleaners or some systematic way where they are checking these deep cleaning items and making sure like the tops of the doors are dusted. A process for taking before and after pictures and making sure any damages are captured before the flip is complete. I think in the long term, having a system is still better and more sustainable than you trying to be quality control every single time. Thing number 4 is unrealistic plans for our business trips. The first couple trips, and I've shared this before, we thought, why not mix a little bit of business and leisure? Let's bring the kids, bring the whole family, heck, bring the entire extended family. We'll do a little bit of inspecting, some restocking, and enjoy the house. How hard could it be? Turns out it's really overwhelming to try to do all that at once. For one thing, we underestimated what needed doing. Our first couple trips to the beach house, we were still so new to remote managing an Airbnb property. We didn't know what to expect, and we would just kind of unsystematically wander around the house, identify issues, identify things that need purchasing. We would point out all these random things that need fixing / maybe would be nice to do an upgrade. And then sprinkle in random ideas like, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to go thrifting and see what we can find and add to the house? The reality is that it takes a lot of executive functioning to plan out a trip like this and make sure you're actually staying on task and being efficient and prioritizing all the potential options. Like, we do actually need to charge the minute monitor while we're here and check inventory and do some restocking, but here is an itemized list of potential repairs that we can consider for the future and hand it to someone else. It takes more effort than we initially realized to figure out what needs to be done, prioritize, weigh pros and cons of different options. It's not something designed for multitasking with 3 kids in tow. Secondly, our family, our extended family, and our kids, they're not there for business. They were there to have fun. And so they were all like, so what are we doing today? And it makes sense. And what am I gonna say? Let's go to Costco together and buy some toilet paper. I love them dearly, and it was great to have had this memory together at the beach house, but it was like an extra thing to think about travel itineraries and where to go eat, in addition to making sure the kids are cared for and also actually doing work with the house. Since then, we've scaled back these business trips to just be me and my husband, and it's amazing. Really smooth, focused, efficient, and honestly, energizing and refreshing. To be taking a trip without kids to work on a project together, it's actually kind of fun. We've also built a dashboard using ClickUp to help keep track of the cadence of restocking certain items and also keep tabs on all these little things that you have to do or make sure someone is doing. It also serves as a really good holding spot for maintenance issues that aren't quite urgent and you want to monitor throughout time, or if we have ideas for upgrades and fixes, we can park it here and reference it year-round. I think maybe we are ready to reattempt a business trip with the family now that we are more at a steady state and have more of a process of what we actually do when we show up to the house. I think we've now got a pretty good routine and system set up so that even if we have extra people along, it's not going to derail our plans too much. And we also know better now than to set lofty expectations of what can be accomplished in such a trip. Thing number 5 is over-tailoring. You want to check in early? Sure. What time? 1, noon, or 11? Oh, you want the night before? Wait, is that an extra night? How do I approach this? But I already went down that conversation path of saying yes to sort of an early check-in. So now what do I do? Oh, you want to add an extra guest? Maybe. Are they a kid? Are they a grown-up? Ooh, 2 extra guests? What if they're over the head count? What if they don't stay the night? What would be the rules if they only come for lunch, but then they're not breaking quiet hours, etc., etc. The issue wasn't about being flexible or making sure people have a good time. I still believe in that. I think it's when I'm overdoing it or sounding apologetic when I feel like I'm not giving the best answer. Like when I'm saying yes to this person for staying an extra hour, I inevitably think of this other time where I may have let someone stay an extra 2 hours for free. I would waffle between different options, I would think too hard, and I would craft every single response individually and manually. It was seriously too much time spent on these micro decisions that drain me but don't really have any benefit. Nowadays, I standardize the early check-in and late checkout times and fees associated with it. And I automatically embed that in my check-in and checkout messages so that the option is there. If they would like to take it, they will let me know. For capacity-related questions, I build it into quick response and I frame it as kind of a fire code requirement for the license. I've built a whole library of these templates that are personal to my use case to make sure it's easy for me to give a clear, consistent response every single time. Even if I feel like customizing, it's still a really good place to start from, and I'll link my templates below. Switching gears to the flip side, there are a few things that I will always do, and the first one is prioritizing the guest experience. After all, that is kind of the whole point of this hospitality business. To me, prioritizing their experience includes cleanliness, responding quickly and promptly and solving any issues, and making sure the space is functional and properly stocked. With as much competition as we have in the market these days, the good reviews will really help set you apart and help you stay booked. I have a few videos related to guest communication and resolving issues, and I will link to those below. The second thing is responding quickly. This really helps build trust because really, who wants to stay at a place where it takes a whole day to resolve a small issue? A lot of this can be handled by having a saved response, even if you don't want to automate. It helps shorten the time needed to craft every single response. The third thing is contingency planning. Things break, cleaners can make mistake, guests cancel, and like we talked about, there's seasonality, and so there are always some slow months. I always keep a cushion or emergency fund so that I'm not left scrambling, and I always keep an open mind to exit strategies. Whether it's selling or converting it to a mid or long-term rental, I'm not doing any of those changes today, but it's always good to run those numbers occasionally and keep a few contacts that might help you make that transition. And then number 4 is keep learning and adjusting. Short-term rentals are not passive, they're not completely hands-off, and there's always something changing in the industry, in the regulations, in the market, and guest expectations. Those things change, and so do I. So that's my list, things that I no longer do in my short-term rental business and the non-negotiables that I'll always keep doing. If you're building your short-term rental business, I hope this helps you skip a few headaches. And if you're ready to take advantage of direct booking, check out Lodgify in the link below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!
What do you think?
Otherwise, no one can live here.
Yeah, that's no good.
And if you break it, then and if you break it inside the Florida house, then it would no good if you break the glass of the Florida house.